again next time that you see me.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this week's production of Too Inspiring, Harrisburg's first inspirational television talk show about matters of the heart. Don't forget that the show is being recorded in front of a live studio audience, and we would like to thank all of our guests and sponsors for their business. And now, here's your host, author and motivational speaker, the incomparable Trish Robinson.
Hello, this is Trish Robinson with Too Inspiring, Matters of the Heart, a show for the community and all about the community. As you well may know, African American women are one of the fastest growing entrepreneurs in America. We are breaking the glass ceiling. And that brings me to my guest today. She is a phenomenon. She is an icon in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Her name is Angela Ulen. Welcome. Thank you for joining me.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Not
it's a pleasure.
Thank you. Angela is a supervisor. She is a funeral director called Hooper's Funeral Home, and she has had a significant impact on her community, within her family, women in general. And today we want to talk about how she got started and how she has been a leader and how she has been a success. And we want to make sure that we use her ideas, her thoughts, to help empower other young people that are interested in getting into the business. So again, I want to thank you for joining me today. It's quite a pleasure. One of the things that fascinated me about you is your how you are, your strong will to never give up and to take on the role of a funeral director, which is primarily often a man's job.
It is,
right?
It's very male dominated.
And so how did it originate? How did you get started? What was I know this is a generational, it was handed down to you from generation to generation, which is very positive, and that's what we want to do. So can you tell our listeners, our audience, how Hooper's began?
Well, Hooper Funeral Home began in the late 1800s by Walter J. Hooper. He was the originator of Hooper Funeral Home. He came from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, with techniques in preserving and embalming and the whole new redefined funeral business.
Okay.
So as he came here, he worked with a partner, and he did so for 5-10 years. That partner passed on. So he had to establish himself in an industry that was dominated not by the African American community, but by the Caucasian community. So, as such, he started Hooper Memorial Home. And he started it on Forester Street in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. That area was dominated with African American businesses. There was doctors and lawyers and pharmacists and all kinds of wonderful businesses.
Wow.
But as time progressed, we became less and less. And we started to be forced out of the city area that became dominant for the state of Pennsylvania and the Commonwealth.
And can you tell me how did that go about? Why do you feel that you were forced out? What was the trigger that forced African Americans out of the community?
Land. And as opportunities grow and businesses grow and the state became more prominent for big businesses, the smaller entrepreneurs were pushed out and had to kind of fend for themselves. So as a result, a lot of those businesses closed or moved.
Okay.
And so one of the things that Hooper's had to do was relocate.
Okay. And so is that this building that we're in today?
This is the third location.
Is the third location. So your second location was, where was that at?
Was in Harrisburg as well, on the hill.
Okay.
And that was on Cumberland Street, 1416 Cumberland Street. So after Walter Hooper passed, his daughter Millicent Hooper, who was a phenomenal woman, she was in the funeral industry for more than 60 years. Wow. She moved the location from the Foster Street to Cumberland Street. And she had so much style and grace. Everyone loved Miss Hooper.
So what is it for you that keeps you in the funeral business?
It is a passion. You have to give of yourself. There are many sleepless nights. There are many sacrifices. There are many times when you get a little overwhelmed. But you say to yourself, what would Millicent Hooper do?
Wow.
She never gave up. Therefore, you can't give up. In tough times, in flourishing times, you have to maintain a certain level of integrity, a certain level of pride in your business, a certain level of duration, a certain level of sacrifice.
Wow.
So you have to give it all.
Yeah.
And it takes from you. A business will take from you. It'll work on your family, your relationship with your family. Sometimes you have to say no to your family. And it takes perseverance. It really, really does.
And going back to Miss Millicent and her being a phenomenal woman that she was, and I know she was one that was a community, always in the community, wanted to give back. Can you share some of the experiences?
Millicent worked with so many small entrepreneurs, some of them that are no longer owning their own businesses, but there are some success stories. For one, Eddie's Men's Shop,
Wow.
Eddie's Furniture Store. Eddie adored Millicent, and she adored him, and she would do anything to help and support him in his business goals. So there are success stories still here in Harrisburg. Being an entrepreneur sounds fantastic.
Yes, on paper.
It sounds wonderful, but there are so many things that you have to consider. You have to consider your finances. Does your pocketbook allow you to become an entrepreneur? Do you have a business plan?
Yes.
And is it 5-10 years? Are you in it for the long haul? Do you have a mentor that you can go to and talk to and spend time with to make sure that this is what you really want to do? So there are so many things that you must do before you step out. And I believe in stepping out on
Yes.
faith. I think it's a wonderful thing. But you better have your education in order. You better have your finances in order. You better have your business plan in order. And for your family and the community to support you.
That was some great nuggets she just dropped. I hope you guys took notes on that, because it's not enough to get into business or say you're an entrepreneur, but you really have to live it, and you have to do the preparation.
You do.
Because it requires you to do so much to before you get started, to make sure that you are successful. And that's what we want to do. We don't want businesses to be on just trying to survive. We want them to be thriving,
Right.
and so that we can really focus on our community and what we can do for our community.
And here at Hooper's, we have been in business for over 100 years.
Wow.
And so each legacy, each family member that steps up to the plate, they have their own attributes. They have their own success. They have their own downfalls. They have their own sense of ownership. So even though this is a generational business,
Right.
each family member that has taken over that supervisor position has had their own pitfalls and their own success stories.
Wow.
So even though it's family owned, we all have had our struggles.
And there's nothing wrong with the struggles, because those are things that we learn from. It helps
Absolutely.
us stay focused. It helps
Absolutely.
us stay grounded. And it also looks at what next. I always say we always have to be thinking about what can I do next to build and make it better, to improve.
You have to have a plan.
You have to have a plan.
And it has to be every couple of years, your plan needs to be adjusted.
It will change, absolutely.
Right.
And we have to change with the times. We have to change
Exactly.
with what's going on, what's new, and how to kind of rebrand ourselves. It's almost like a rebranding almost to a certain degree, because you want to stay relevant. And
Whoever thought that we would be doing cremation?
wow,
40, 50 years ago, cremation was
never
taboo.
thought about. Yes.
We don't do cremation.
No.
But we do it now. But you can still have a wonderful celebration prior to that cremation service.
Wow.
We can still do different things. Green burials.
Wow.
Does anyone talk about green burials?
No.
Not now, but you will. And that eliminates some of the things that we currently do. For instance, with a green burial, you don't typically use a casket, or you use a biodegradable casket.
Wow.
Absolutely. So every industry changes. And you must do your research. You must do your hard work to determine, do you want to be in the now or do you want to be in the then?
The then. Wow.
Absolutely.
And speaking of that, because we don't prepare, and we oftentimes, like you said, the first thing we think about, if we can't properly bury, and that's what we say, properly bury our loved ones, we think about cremation. And the reason why we think about cremation is because we don't have the money to fund a burial service.
In many instances,
yes,
that is the case.
So I just want to re-emphasize the importance of making sure that you prepare your loved ones and make sure that you have
some type of
insurance, so that you make sure that your loved ones are buried properly and there's no strain on the rest of the family.
Absolutely. The younger you get your house in order, as far as finances, as far as insurance, as far as education, the better opportunities you have.
Yes.
For instance, if you were to purchase life insurance at 25 years old, it may only cost you $25 a month.
Absolutely.
If you wait until you're 50
it's
years
cost
old,
you more.
it may cost you $100 a month.
There's
and
a
God
difference.
forbid you wait until your loved one is in nursing home care. You can't get insurance. Not your traditional insurance.
Absolutely.
The only thing that would be available to you is to be able to pay for those funeral expenses out of pocket, or do a pre-arrangement burial fund. And a lot of folks do that.
That's a great option as well.
Absolutely.
I didn't even think about that. That pre-burial agreement, so that you make sure that you are paying into, and again, we don't want to think about those things, but
it's so taboo.
necessary.
It's so taboo. We
Yes.
don't want to talk about death and dying. Oh my
Right.
goodness. We don't talk about those things. But you better start talking
Absolutely.
about those things.
Absolutely.
Because all of us must pass this way.
Oh my goodness, yes. Yes. That's excellent. That was very good education, Angela. I
Yes.
appreciate that. Is there a family philosophy? Is there something? Now, I know with each generation, maybe things change on how you look at things. And one of my philosophies that I always care, whether it's a business philosophy or it's my personal, is there any philosophy that you may have for yourself?
Our philosophy here at Hooper's is to treat everyone that walks through that door as if they were family.
Wow.
And when you do that, you get a sense of pride. You get a sense of being in it for the long haul for those people who walk in the door. They're not just another number. You are a part of our ongoing family.
Wow.
And if you take all the families that Hooper's has served over 100 years, that's a lot of people.
Yes.
It's a lot of people. And that's what makes Hooper's a strong part of this community. We not only serve the community in the funeral care, but we also belong to different organizations. We support various charities. We do lots of donations. We do workshops and seminars, and we go into the schools, and we go into the nursing homes, and we go into the community centers, and we go into the churches, giving folks information to how to best prepare, not only for today, but for those tomorrows.
Oh my goodness, yes. That is perfect. And that is good, because we want to continue to have that dialogue.
Absolutely.
With our community. We need to get on, to say be foot soldiers for supporting the uneducated, because it's one thing to not know, but it's another to know and still don't do the right thing.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
I would love some young folks to be a part of this business. I would just love to see them want to start being their own boss. But you have to prepare.
Yes.
You have to get your education. You have to determine what you want for yourself, not what somebody else wants for you.
What you want for yourself.
What and where do you see yourself 5 years, 10 years,
Yes.
15 years? Do you want to work for someone for the rest of your life, or do you want to have folks working for you?
I always say you have to have a life blueprint.
Absolutely.
And not only with a life blueprint, it encompasses a financial blueprint, a family blueprint, you have to know, you have to have a plan and map it out. And then that blueprint may, like you said, change over time. But you have to start with something. You have to start with something.
Start with a seed.
Yes.
Start with a seed and plant that seed and watch it grow.
Absolutely. Well, because I'm in the school district a lot, in the Harrisburg School District and Central Dauphin, I'm going to definitely be soliciting
All right.
for some young people for you to see that if they fit, if this is a perfect fit for them, because I
We'd
think
love
that's
to
important.
have them in. And even if they come in and kind of shadow us
Yes.
and see what it takes to be involved in the funeral industry, you never know. We
You
may
never
have
know.
a future funeral director.
Absolutely. Now, I know as an African American woman, you have been met with many challenges along the way.
Mhm.
So, if you could share, because a lot of women are not only afraid to get in business, but they are also they don't know how to, who to talk to. And so, if you can share with our listeners some of your challenges and how you overcome some of those challenges. What were some of the things that you did?
Okay. As you already know, I'm in a very male-dominated industry.
Absolutely.
There are very few, not only minority funeral directors, but there are very few female funeral directors in this industry. So that's a challenge.
That's a challenge in
So
itself.
when I go to one of the funeral director seminars or workshops, I can count the number of women on
Wow.
one hand. And then you throw in being a
African-American.
person of color, you may be the
That
only
one.
one. But that's okay.
Okay.
That doesn't bother me. But you're treated a little differently. And either you're treated like one of the good old boys,
Right.
or you're not
Ignored.
treated at all.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
So you have that challenge.
Okay.
Most of my colleagues in this field are very respectful, and they're very good. And if there's anything that I need, they're always there to help, and vice versa. You have to give back in order to get.
Absolutely.
So
I
that's
agree.
one of the challenges. Financially, it's very difficult as a small business owner, especially a female, to get funding for different projects. I'm established, and so it's not as difficult for me. I have some great bankers out there, but I remember 25 years ago, 30 years ago, it can be a struggle.
Okay.
So make sure you build a financial portfolio.
Okay.
And it just takes some starts
Yeah.
and adjustments.
Mhm.
My grandmother always told me, take a paycheck and save it, spend the other one.
Wow.
Take a paycheck and spend it. And if you get into the habit of saving and spending qualified, quality things, you'll be okay.
And that's key. I like to say that again.
Quality and qualified.
Yes.
Yes.
That
You
is
have
so
to do
important. That is so important because we don't do that. And we think that we can just jump into a business
No.
and not have that financial security.
You
And
have to
you
have
have
that.
to have
That's
something.
key. That's
Right.
key.
Because it is not even just for African American people. It's hard to get money, period. The bank to give loans out, period, because of the economy. So there's
You
a struggle.
must, absolutely, and you must go in with a plan.
Yes.
You have, and there are classes out there where you can develop a business plan. So when you go into that banking institution and say, "Oh, I'd like to have $100,000," you need a plan.
You need a plan. You
You
just
need a
can't go in there thinking, "Well, this is just a
Absolutely.
dream."
No.
You got to have something on paper. They want to see some projections. They want to see how
Exactly.
you plan to pay this back.
Exactly.
You know, and what's your business structure look like. You know, how many you're going to employ,
Absolutely.
because that's important too.
That's important too. And then the sacrifice and the toll it takes on your family.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
You know, you're going to be putting in maybe 10, 15 hours daily.
Daily.
Week after week, month after month, year after year, trying to get your business jumping off of that page and making it happen. And there's a lot of sacrifice. Not only does your spouse sacrifice, so does your children, so does your parents and your grandparents.
Wow.
And they have to see your dream. And if you can bring them in with you,
Yes, that's key.
you'll have a great support mechanism and system.
That is very important. I'm glad you brought that up, because oftentimes when we think about, we have these great dreams and aspirations, and we have a family, we forget about including them in that dream. and at those aspirations. So they never see the vision, and they don't see the vision because you never included them in the vision.
Absolutely.
So I think it's so important that we think about when we want to get into things, that we have that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
We're not afraid to have a conversation and say, okay, what part would you like to play,
Mm-hmm.
and how would you like to be a part of it, so that they feel included, and that makes the business, it makes the family structure stronger, even though you have those times where
Mm-hmm.
things, it may be difficult, but they can fall back on the fact that, you know what, I'm a part of this,
Mm-hmm.
and I want to see it grow.
And understand that you might be in this alone.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
And can you weather that storm
Oh my
of
God.
being alone in your dream, in your aspirations?
And that could be one of the toughest things. And I often say that, as an entrepreneur myself, I often say sometimes it's a lonely road.
It is.
Because people don't always see your vision, and they don't always support your vision.
Drive by here and see how many cars are in the parking lot at 8 or 9 o'clock at night, and you'll see a light on.
Okay.
That's my office.
That's your office. Okay. So we have to be strong. We have to be faithful to our purpose and our cause, and not give up on ourselves. And I say that's very important. We give up on a lot of things, but never give up on yourself.
That's right. Always put God first.
Yes.
God first.
Absolutely,
Mhm.
absolutely. With God, all things are possible, right?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Now, we touched base about the community, and Too Inspiring is a show about the community and for the community. And one of the things I love to talk about is, what is our give back? Well, how do we support our community? Because a lot of times we have businesses that are struggling. They're trying to make ends meet, and they don't have people coming in their doors. So what are some of the things, and just give me a couple things that you do to just kind of reach out into the community and help another entrepreneur, maybe support them. What type of ways would you give that? What does that look like for you when you get that support?
Well, it's important to support your community. You have to do it on a regular basis. Not only your vendors, but your veterans.
Oh, nice. Yes.
Not only your contractors, but your students.
Yes.
Not only your donations to the food bank or to the Special Olympics or to any other organizations, you have to give back.
Wow.
You have to give back. I belong to various organizations because I believe in supporting the community. Can you imagine a community that is drained of its resources?
Yes. That's what it feels like.
That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
And if you don't put it in,
Yeah.
there's nothing to
There's
take
nothing
out.
to take out.
There's nothing to take out. And you have to. And sometimes it may seem as a small irritant,
Mm-hmm.
as a small business owner. I don't have enough money to spread around. But if you plant the seed, again, it'll bloom and blossom, and you'll get so much back.
And it's not always monetary seeds that we need to plant, but it's that educational piece,
Right.
it's that knowledge, it's
That's
that
right.
supporting, like, let me help you, let me mentor you.
Our city schools, they've had some problems. Our community's education is the most important thing that we can possibly do to know that tomorrow's will be okay.
Yes.
We have to support our schools. It doesn't matter if it's Harrisburg School District. It doesn't matter if it's Central Dauphin. It doesn't matter if it's any other school district around here. Still, we have to support our kids.
Oh, yes. They're our future.
Listen, call up a couple of counselors and say, what can I do to help?
Yes.
What can I give? What do you need? How can I be of service?
If you had to do something different, if you had to if you looked at a blank canvas and you had your paintbrush and you
Trisha,
said,
this is so easy. If I had to do it all over again, I wouldn't change a thing. Because every struggle that I had, every difficulty that I had, every step that I took made me the person I am today. So if I took the canvas and I wiped it clean, I wouldn't be here talking to you today.
wow.
What doesn't kill us makes us stronger.
Makes us stronger.
That's right.
Our experiences are what we need so we can tell the
There
story.
are building blocks.
Yes.
And if it's all easy, then what was it all for?
And not only that, if it was that easy,
Everybody
would
would
be
do
doing it. I'm just touched. I'm honored. I am pleased to be in your presence, to know you.
Oh, it's such a pleasure.
Oh,
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. We don't often get to talk to folks about our stories.
Wow.
They just see the cars,
Yes.
the suits, the things that you do to make things happen. They don't see behind closed doors what it really takes.
And that is so important.
So thank you for inviting me into your world.
Oh, well, it's
So
a pleasure.
appreciated.
It is such a pleasure. And so, what I want our listeners to know is that you are here. Not that they don't know about you already, because like I said, you are an icon.
Oh, thank you,
You
Trish.
definitely have a mark on Harrisburg, and you're so loved here. I want people to continue to be here, not, to continue to embrace you. Even if they stop by and see your light on and you're the only one here, maybe saying, let me go say hi to Angela and give her that support. But will you tell our listeners what's your location and your hours?
Again, Hooper Memorial Home Incorporated, 3532 Walnut Street in Harrisburg. And we
Your
never
hours.
close.
I know, I was going
We
to
never
say.
close. The light may be off, but
What?
we are here and available for our community 24/7.
Awesome. Well, I want to thank you for the time that you've given me. I want to thank you for what you give back to the community and how you support the community and what you do for our families to comfort them and give them the support they need and what can be a very difficult time in their lives. That is so important, and to see a face that's loving, that's friendly, and that they feel a part of your family. You embrace them and you give them that.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much for that.
No, thank you.
You're welcome. This is Trish Robinson with Two Inspiring Matters of the Heart. This is a show all about the community and for the community. I want to thank you for joining me today. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for coming out and being a part of Two Inspiring, Harrisburg's first inspirational television talk show about matters of the heart. We do hope you were truly blessed.